Alright, thanks for returning into part 2 for evaluating a function, and now we're going to actually plug in an expression instead of just a numerical value. So here's what our problems look like. So notice, and before we just had a number in the parentheses, but now we're going to have an expression. And so we're going to be changing through different letters in these. So first one says if f of n equals 5n plus 9, find f of negative 5v. So basically anywhere you see an n, you're going to replace negative 5v. And we're still going to do parentheses like before. So I'm going to start off with the 5, and then I'm going to input negative 5v in place of n, and then I'm going to continue with my plus 9. And so now you're going to use your order of operations to distribute, to multiply, and simplify that expression. So 5 times negative 5 will be negative 25v, and I bring down the plus 9. Cannot combine like terms, and so this will be my answer. Okay, so when you're plugging in an expression, you're going to get an expression as your answer. Okay, on the middle one, you have g of m equals 3m, and you're going to find g of n minus 1. So anywhere you see an m, you're going to replace m with n minus 1. Okay, so I have a 3 out front. Remember, use parentheses. I'm going to plug in n minus 1. And now I'm going to have to distribute to get 3n, multiply those and get negative 3. You cannot combine like terms, and so you would be done. Last question, you have h of d equals negative d minus 9, and you're going to find f of 4z plus 8. So again, anywhere you see the letter d, you're going to replace that with 4z plus 8. So actually I'm going to go ahead and put a negative 1 out here to help me out, and then I'm going to input 4z plus 8, and then I'm going to bring down that minus 9. Okay, so if you have a negative out front, that is actually going to be distributed to everything, and so you would get negative 4z minus 8, and then drop down that negative 9. Then you could combine like terms to get negative 17, and then drop down minus 4z. And then that would be your final answer. Okay, so trickiest part is if you have a negative in front, you don't just put the negative with the 4z, you would have to multiply that negative by the 8 as well. Okay, so down here, complete a function table. So notice they've given you an equation up here, and they want you to figure out what the y value is with all these different x values. So it wants us to do the same thing. It wants me to plug in 0 and see what my output would be. So all I'm going to do is, here was my equation. It wants me to plug in 0 for x. So I'm going to say 0 plus 2. What is 0 plus 2? Well, it's 2. Okay? Down here, I'm now going to plug in 1 for x. So I'd say 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is a 3. Going to try with a negative 2, or a 2. So 2 plus 2, 4. And then finally 3 plus 2 is 5. So all I'm doing is plugging in that number and then evaluating it. Okay? So why don't you press pause, try this one on your own, because we're about to go over the answers. Alright, so on this one, we're going to be multiplying. So I'm going to have negative 3 times my x, and so here are all the x values I need to try. So I'm going to start with negative 3 times negative 3. Type that in, and I'll get a positive 9. Then I'm going to come over here, negative 3 times x, but this time x is negative 1, will give me a positive 3. Negative 3 times a 1 will give me a negative 3. And then negative 3 times 3 would give me a negative 9. So all I did was, my equation was negative 3x, and I just put my x values where x should be. Okay. So that is how you complete a function table. Look at the equation they gave you, type in these numbers 4 times, and then you just type them in over here. Okay. Now, Evaluating from a graph is harder. So again, f of x. So anytime you see a number in parentheses, that means it's an x value. If you were to see something like right here, where it wants you to find the x values, that means these are y values. Okay? And so remember, x values are on the x-axis, y values are on the y-axis. So what this means, it wants me to find the value of f of -4. So I need to go where an x is a -4 on my graph. Okay? Here's my x-axis, go to a -4. Okay? You need to ask yourself, do I need to go up or down to hit that line? Well, I would need to go up, okay, to reach this point right here. And then you just have to tell me what y value that point is. So I'm going to go over here. My y value would be a 3. So 3 is going to be the value of f of -4. Okay? Let's try some other problems. What is the value of f of 0? So again, 0 is my x. I'm going to go to 0 on the x-axis. I need to see if I need to go up or down to meet that line. And so I need to go down this far to hit this line. But then you need to see what y value that is. And so here are your y values, and that'd be a -4. Okay? So on these two problems, it says what's the value of x. So they've given me a y value. So I'm going to go to where y is a 3. So here is y is 3. Now I need to either go left or right to find that x value. And so if I go right, I'm going to hit the line. So here was y is a 3. I'm going to go right to hit this. And then I just need to see what x value that was. So x would be a -4. Okay. Same thing down here. I have y at a 5. So here is my y at a 5. I need to go left to hit that line. But now I need to see what x value that was. And that x would have been a -5. Okay. So you're basically giving yourself an ordered pair of where that is hitting the line right here. Okay, so turn the page and try this one on your own, or press pause, and we will go over it in a second. Alright, so f of -1, that is my x value. I'm going to go to the x-axis at a -1. I need to ask myself, do I need to go up or down to hit that line? Well, I need to go down, and then I will hit that line right here, and then that y value at that would have been a -1. Okay? And then f of x equals -3. Remember, this is a y value. So I'm going to go on the y-axis to a -3, which would be here, and ask myself if I need to go left or right to hit that line for an x number. And I would need to go here, left, to hit this. And then that x is a -3. Okay. Those are tricky. They definitely take some practice, which we're going to do in IXL in a second. Alright, so here is a real-world problem of evaluating a function. Ms. Callahan's tutoring hours, h, cost, f of h, are listed below. So again, these are your x values and these are your y values. Use the table to answer the following. So what is the value of f of 2? So remember, if it's in parentheses, that's going to be an h or an x. And so all that means is I need to find what h is a 2. Well, here is h2, and then see what that output was. So it would be 20. Okay. So same thing on this problem down here. What's the value of f of 6? So 6 is in parentheses, so it's an h. So let me go find where 6 is an h. Well, it's not on there, but it would be right here. And I need to figure out what that output would be. So 20, 30, 40, 50, they're going up by tens. So that should be 60. Okay. Here they are looking for the h, but they gave you the y value or they gave you this f of h value. So you just need to look at 20 on the table and see what h was, and so h was a 2. Same thing on this second one. They want to know when f of h is 40. Here is f of h when it's 40. What's the value of h? The h is going to be a 4. Okay. What does f of 4 equal 25 mean in the problem? So what does this mean about Miss Callahan's tutoring hours? Okay, so this f of 4 means I tutored for 4 hours. So if Miss Callahan tutors for 4 hours, so if can't spell my name, tutors for 4 hours, and then what does that 25 mean? Which it should say 40, that's a typo. That's going to mean I'm going to get paid $40. Okay, so that should say 40. So you have to address what that f of 4 means, and this means hours, and then this would mean the cost. So if Ms. Callahan tutors for 4 hours, she's going to make $40. Or if a student was being tutored by Ms. Callahan, they'd have to pay her $40 for tutoring, which is not true because my tutoring is free on Tuesdays. All right, what's the value of f of 1 and how did you find it? So I would need to go backwards in my table, and so since they are plusing by 10, if I need to go backwards, I would subtract 10, and so 20 minus 10 will be 10, and so the value of f of 1 would be 10. And I just went backwards on the table to figure out what that starting point would be. Okay, last application problem, and then we are done. So the swine flu is attacking Fulton. The function below determines how many people will have swine, where t is time, in days, and s is the number of people in thousands. So here's a little equation right here. Wants us to find s of 4. So I know the t is in parentheses. So I know t is 4. So I just need to plug in that number right there and type that in my calculator and solve it. So 9 times 4 minus 4 is going to equal 32. You just need to know that that means 1,000. So it's 32,000 people. Okay. So what does that mean in this problem? So that means I have to address this s of 4. So after 4 days, 32,000 people will have the swine flu at Fulton. Not good. Okay? So if it asks you what it means in the problem, make sure you address the problem, talking about the swine flu, and then make sure you address this s of 4, and then your actual answer. Okay? So now, you are completely done. And so you should have done Q2. If not, you can start that first, and then you can practice evaluating functions, evaluating them from graphs, completing tables, and looking at a graph and completing a table as well. Okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for listening.